Subscribe my channel and press bell icon to get all notification.
Hello students, now let's start the classification of kingdom Protista. We will start with a group that is Chrysophytes. So today we'll discuss the characteristics of the group of kingdom Protista, that is Chrysophytes. This Chrysophytes, it include diatoms and desmids. So we can say that diatoms and desmids are included in this group. Desmids are also known as golden algae. These are golden algae. They are included in this group, Chrysophytes. And mainly this is the photosynthetic protist. We already understand that classification. Chrysophytes are included under the group that is photosynthetic protist. So they do photosynthesis. That's why the word algae is included here. Don't be get confused with this word algae. Algae, we will study about the algae in the kingdom Plantae also. And we already studied the algae or included the algae that was the blue-green algae in the kingdom Monera also. But these are previously considered as the algae. But when the 5 kingdom classifications was given by Whitaker, he put all these organisms as the according to their characteristics, he included these organisms into kingdom Protista. So these are diatoms and desmids. If we talk about the diatoms, हम पहले बात कर लेते हैं diatoms के बारे में. Diatoms are the organisms which are aquatic. They are aquatic in nature. अब aquatic है, again यहाँ पे aquatic nature जो होगी, they can be lived in any aquatic medium, but they can be lived onto the terrestrial or location also. Means they can be found onto the land, but it should be moist land. So moist terrestrial environment can be also adopted by these organisms, and they are aquatic. Second thing that is that they are free floating. They are free floating organisms. Free floating organisms are the organisms which flow onto the surface of water passively without expending any energy, without doing any effort. These type of organisms are known as planktons. So we can call them, then they are free floating organisms or they are planktons. Planktons words are used for such kind of organisms which are free floating and passively free floating. जो खुद को इफेक्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं, just they are floating with the water current. जैसे वाटर की वेव्स आ रही है उसके साथ ही फ्लो हो रहे हैं. और they can be bottom dwellers. ये बॉटम डुलर्स भी हो सकते हैं, यानी कि ये बॉटम में भी मिलेंगे, पानी के बिल्कुल गहराई में भी मिलते हैं. नेक्स्ट थिंग दैट इज द अबाउट देयर स्ट्रक्चर. अगर हम स्ट्रक्चर की बात कर रहे हैं डायटम्स की, डायटम्स हैव द सिलिका डिपोजिशन इन देयर सेल वॉल. दे हैव सिलिका एंड दैट्स व्हाई दे हैव सिलिसियस सेल अराउंड देम. इनके बाहर एक सिलिसियस सेल प्रेजेंट होता है बिकॉज silica get deposited into the cell wall of these organisms, and the cell wall forms a structure that is known as fistules. So we can say that fistules are found in these organisms. These fistules are actually, these are the two walls. It makes two walls like structure, or we can say that cell wall, which is the siliceous cell wall, it makes the fistules, and these fistules are found into the two wall like structure. So we are saying that these fistules forms two walls like structures, and here the two walls, they just look like a soap box. आपने soap box देखा है जिसमें नीचे एक box होता है and it get covered by the another box. Such kind of structure is also found in these organisms. The one is this is the upper fistule, upper wall of the fistule, and this is the lower part of the fistule. The upper part, the upper wall is known as apitheca. ऊपर वाले को हम बोल देंगे apitheca because it's above, and the wall which is present below, it's known as hypotheca. So it has two walls, apitheca and hypotheca. These two walls just look like the soap box, and these are the siliceous soap walls that are known as fistule. अब यहाँ पे एक और इम्पोर्टेंट चीज है जो हमें समझनी है. सिलिका का जो डिपोजिशन हो जाता है इन ऑर्गेनिजम्स के अंदर, ड्यू टू द डिपोजिशन ऑफ सिलिका, these organisms are not decayed easily. यहाँ पे इनका decomposition आसानी से नहीं होता. After the death of these organisms, they get deposited at the bottom of the earth, and they form a specific structure which is known as diatomaceous earth. So So this is known as diatomaceous earth, or the another name which we can use is diatomite. This is a structure which is formed at the bottom of the sea. Now it's very important. It's very important with these protista. आपके बहुत बार एग्जाम्स में इस पे क्वेश्चन आता है. This is very important for different purposes. This diatomaceous earth, which is formed due to the deposition of these protistans because of their presence of silica in their cell wall. This diatomaceous earth is used as a filtering agent because it has porous structure. इनमें बहुत सारे pores like structure होती हैं. इस porous structure की वजह से they are used as a filtering agents in the filtration of syrup, sugar, alcohol and oil etc. इनके filtration में काम आएगा. As well it can be used as a soundproof means its material. When we need to make a soundproof room, then we can use these diatomaceous earth there also. It has many more functions also. And here one more important thing is that due to these diatomaceous earth, when they get be pressurized, after many years they can be formed the petroleum products. So it is responsible for the formation of petroleum also. So this is the important thing related with this important characteristic, that is silica deposition. This all happens due to their silica deposition in their cell wall. Now if we talk about the locomotion, they do not have flagella. Flagella in organisms के अंदर present नहीं होती. As we are saying that they are free floating, they float freely without any expansion, without any efforts. But in some phases of their life, they contain flagella. But most of the time, they do not have any flagella. Next thing, two forms of these organisms are found. यहाँ पे organisms की हमें दो varieties या two forms नजर आती हैं. दो तरीके के ये two forms में organisms नजर आते मिलते हैं हमें. One form is known as pinnate and another form of these organisms are known as centric. One is pinnate. Pinnate जो होते हैं उनकी structure इस तरीके की होगी. This is the pinnate structure and the centric is like of this type of. The pinnate organisms show bilateral symmetry, whereas centric organisms they show radial symmetry. So on the basis of the symmetry, we can say that two forms of organisms are found, pinnate and centric. Here you know that bilateral symmetry, which can be by which the organism can be divided into the two equal halves by a plane which is passing through their center. तो अगर हम center से एक plane से इन्हें divide करने की कोशिश करें, we can divide these organisms equally into the two halves. And in the centric organism, they show radial symmetry, which can be divided by in two equal halves by any planes. किसी भी एक plane, किसी भी plane से चाहे वो किसी भी तरीके से हम cut करें, they can be divided into two halves. So these are the two forms of the life which are found in these organisms based on their symmetry. Now let's come on to the next characteristic, which is that they have a large central vacuole. इनके अंदर बहुत large central vacuole present होती हैं. Pigments की अगर हम बात करें, as we know that these chrysophytes they are photosynthetic protists. जब photosynthesis होगा means they need some pigments. Pigment की यहाँ पे जरूरत पड़ेगी. And the pigments which are found is the chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C. These two pigments are found in these organisms. The important photosynthetic pigment which are found in these diatoms, this is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C. Besides these chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C, they have some another pigments also, like they can have fucoxanthin. We can add fucoxanthin also, which give them brown color. This fucoxanthin is responsible to provide them brown color. In the diatoms we can see various coloring differences. बहुत सारे diatoms होते हैं अलग-अलग colors के हिसाब से, and their color ranges from yellowish brown to greenish brown. Yellowish brown से greenish brown होगा, and ये जो brown color है, this is due to the presence of fucoxanthin, which is very important pigment. It also found in brown algae also. So it's a fucoxanthin found there. Now let's come on to the reproduction. जब हम reproduction की बात करते हैं, reproduction they can be reproduced by asexual and sexual means. Asexual reproduction में जो reproduction होता है, that is mainly is the binary fission. और sexually जब they reproduce कर रहे हैं, they reproduce by their binary fission. अब यहाँ पे जो बाइनरी रीजन होता है वो होता है इनकी इस स्ट्रक्चर की वजह से. We know that cell wall forms two walls, that is apitheca and hypotheca. Because of the presence of these two walls, they can be equally divided into the two halves. किस तरीके से डिवीजन होगा देखते हैं. जब asexually reproduce करना होता है, then one they divide into halves, and this hypotheca, ये जो hypotheca है, this hypotheca will now behaves like a apitheca. ये अब apitheca की तरह काम करना शुरू कर देता है. It's form apitheca of another datum and it will get a new hypotheca और एक new hypotheca form हो जाएगा. Further, this hypotheca will form as work as an apitheca and it will get a new hypotheca. Again, this hypotheca will work as an or behave as an apitheca and it will get a new hypotheca. So in this way they will do their asexual reproduction. अब यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कि जैसे जैसे रिप्रोडक्शन होता जा रहा है साइज जो है डायटम्स का बहुत छोटा होता जाएगा. तो यहाँ पे एक इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज है जो हमें यहाँ पे समझनी है कि इस चीज से अगर इस तरीके से साइज छोटा होता गया, ऑलरेडी दे आर माइक्रोस्कोपिक ऑर्गेनिज्म है, साइज इनका पहले ही छोटा होता है और रिप्रोडक्शन के बाद साइज और भी छोटा हो जा रहा है, तो ये कंप्लीटली खत्म ना हो जाए. इस चीज को अवॉइड करने के लिए they do sexual reproduction. And in the sexual reproduction, when the gametes form and they get fused, fertilization होगा, gametes बनेंगे, fertilization करेंगे, and these gametes will form the zygote. They will form the zygote. This zygote it will develop and increase into the size. Zygote बनेगा, develop करेगा, size में increase करेगा by forming a special structure which is known as oxospore. By oxospores. So this is very important term here. ये आपके कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम को चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. व्हाट इज ऑक्सोस्पोर? ऑक्सोस्पोर जो होता है वो रिजोवेनेंस्ड एक सेल है जो कि इन डायटम्स के नॉर्मल साइज को रिगेन करने के लिए बनी है. एंड they reproduce by forming, this is the about their sexual reproduction. They do sexual reproduction to form a rejuvenescent cell which is oxospore, by which they can retain their normal size. So this is about their reproduction. यहाँ पे हमने बात कर ली है डायटम्स के बारे में. अगर हम इनके रिप्रोडक्शन से रिलेटेड एक और चीज यहाँ पे इंपॉर्टेंट जो आपको पता होनी जरूरी है, that is the diatoms. In the case of diatoms, the vegetative cells are diploid in nature. They are 2n in nature. That is very important characteristic feature in the case of diatoms. Normally, जो भी lower organisms है, these organisms have haploid cell as a vegetative cells. वहाँ पे haploid cells होती हैं. Like अगर हम desmids भी जब पढ़ेंगे, desmids are also haploid, but the diatoms have 2n or diploid vegetative cells. So this is all about diatoms. Let's take a quick recap. Their chrysophytes divided into the two groups, or we can include diatoms and desmids under the chrysophytes. Diatoms are aquatic, they are free floating, or they are planktons, or they are bottom dwellers. सिलिका फॉर्म होता है सेल वॉल के अंदर. सेल वॉल टू वॉल्स में प्रेजेंट रहती है और फिस्ट्यूल्स बनाती है जो कि टू वॉल्स में प्रेजेंट रहेगा. अपर wall को बोलेंगे apitheca and the lower wall is known as hypotheca, and they work as a soap box. सोप बॉक्स की तरह काम करते हैं जो एक के अंदर दूसरा फिट हो जाता है. Two forms of lives are found in these organisms on the basis of their symmetry. One is the pinnate and another is the centric. Pinnate show bilateral symmetry, whereas centric form show radial symmetry. They have large central vacuole. They have pigments. We can say the important photosynthetic pigment which they contain is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C. They also contain fucoxanthin which provide the brown color. That's why they have brownish, yellowish brown to greenish brown color. Next thing, they reproduce by asexual as well as sexual mean also. In asexual mean, the most important division is binary fission, in which their cell wall are divided by these two halves में divide होगी. apitheca, hypotheca अलग हो जाता है, and here the one hypotheca will behave like a apitheca for the another diatoms and it forming another organism. Finally, when they have very minute size, जब size बहुत छोटा हो जाता है, then the time of their sexual reproduction comes. They do sexual reproduction. They form a rejuvenescent cell which is known as oxospore. So they form ऑक्सोस्पोर। तो यहाँ पे जो इंपॉर्टेंट चीज आपको याद रखनी है वो याद रखनी है, इनके डायटोमिशियस अर्थ और डायटोमाइट के से रिलेटेड जो कि सिलिका डिपोजिशन की वजह से हो रही है। सेकेंड थिंग यू नीड टू बी अंडरस्टैंड दैट दे फॉर्म ऑक्सोस्पोर्स, ऑक्सोस्पर्म्स फॉर्म करेंगे। दे हैव पिनेट और सेंट्रिक forms, two life forms. They have pupacanthin which provide them brown color, and the important thing is that they are 2N or diploid in their vegetative cells, whereas the desmids are haploid. So this is all about diatoms. Now let's discuss about desmids also. Now desmids are the unicellular green algae. These algae, they show resemblance to the Spirogara. Spirogara, which is the actual algal. We will study about the Spirogara in the plantain kingdom when we discuss it today. They show similarities with the Spirogara. यहाँ पे Spirogara से जो इनकी similarities होती हैं वो क्या similarities हैं देखते हैं. They have large chloroplast like Spirogara. This chloroplast size is large chloroplast. This is the one similarity with Spirogara. And another thing, they do reproduction by conjugation. Reproduction by conjugation. So these are the some similarities which are shown by them to the Spirogara. Spirogara से जो similarities show हो रही है वो है ये large size chloroplast present है and they do reproduction by conjugation. Next thing about this is that they live into the fresh water. They live into the fresh water. That's why we can say that they behave like an indicator of unpolluted water. They are the indicator of polluted water. Because if the water is polluted, they will not remain there. They just form into the water which is fresh, unpolluted water. And one more important characteristic that they are haploid in nature. Their cells are haploid or N in nature. Whereas diatoms, in the case of diatoms, we studied that these are the diploid cells. So this is about this complete group, that is Chrysophytes, in which we include diatoms and desmids. Now we'll discuss about the next part of this topic, which is dinoplasm.